Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way? The Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
The sport truck. New Mitsubishi Triton.
Arrive at Earth Mitsubishi Motors.
Nikko, one of Japan's leading tourist destinations. Here, you will be charmed by nature's bounty and will enjoy the beautiful scenery. You will also experience Japanese history at World Heritage temples and shrines. Nikko and Kinugawa, as well as the historic hot springs, are charming. Asakusa is easily accessible from the airport. It takes 2 hours from Asakusa to reach Nikko and Kinugawa via the Spacia Limited Express. Let's go to Nikko!
Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Demizu.
And I'm Makiko Utsuda.
Every week, we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from our studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are our topics for today.
In Dreamweavers, a company that wields a unique welding technology.
From World Business Satellite, a business model that's giving rise to crowd-joined restaurants.
Also from World Business Satellite, a rare look inside an industrial robot factory.
And in Takumi, firefighting equipment that will work without an electricity or running water. So let's get started. First up is Dreamweavers, in which we introduce one-of-a-kind technology and techniques of Japan's small and mid-sized companies.
Yes, and this time we feature a company with a technology that allows for extremely precise welding.
Well, welding means using heat to connect metal things.
Yes, that's right. And the company we'll be looking into is called Tosei Electrobeam, and it specializes in electronic beam and laser welding.
Well, I know welding requires heat to melt metal, but what's different about using electronic beams and lasers?
Yes, well, typically when welding, you apply heat over a wide area, and the material can become deformed or warped, and with electronic beam welding, it's possible to weld things precisely and significantly reduce distortion that's common with conventional welding.
Well, that sounds interesting, but what field is this technology used in?
Yes, well, it's used in the manufacture of aircraft and also Formula One racing cars, which require a high degree of precision in the welding process. And also the technology has been adopted in welding devices aboard the small asteroid explorer Hayabusa 2, which is currently on a mission in space.
So it's used in the field where precision is critical.
Yes, the company is considered by major manufacturers and research institutes as a key partner in development projects, and we find out the secrets to their technological capabilities. So take a look.
In the autumn of 2013, a certain experiment was carried out. A test of a device to launch a copper plate at a speed of 2 kilometers a second. For what purpose? It will be loaded onto the small asteroid explorer Hayabusa 2. The device requires an unprecedented welding method.
The work is at such a high level that only we would jump at the chance of doing it.
Taking on that challenge is Tosei Electrobeam. It uses a specialized welding method that relies on electron beams and lasers. Although a small company with just 61 employees, it has been called on by manufacturers of F1 racing cars and aircraft to handle complex welding work.
This you can't film. I'm sorry, but we can't show you this.
Much of their work comprises top-secret projects for major corporations. They are an organization that supports the Japanese manufacturing industry behind the scenes. Mizuho Machi in Tokyo's Nishi Tamagun. This is where specialized welding company Tosei Electrobeam is headquartered. Their strength is electron beam and laser welding. They have 61 employees and generate annual revenue of 750 million yen. They also boast an impressive list of customers, a total of 3,500 companies. Why do so many rely on them? Hoping to unveil their secrets is copywriter Konosuke Kamitani. Mr. Kamitani actually has an uncommon familiarity with welding companies.
I majored in mechanical engineering at university and took a course in welding.
An unexpected connection.
I worked at a manufacturer at one point, but felt it wasn't really for me, and I quit after 5 months. That made my parents cry.
A period of self-discovery everybody goes through. Mr. Kamitani arrives at Tosei Electrobeam. Meeting him is the founder and chairman, Tamotsu Ueno.
Hello. I've really been looking forward to this.
He's taken to the company's electron beam welding site. Electron beam welding is a technique to connect materials by applying high-energy electrons. It allows different types of metal that typically won't stick together to be easily connected. This complex welding method is highly sought after in fields where a high degree of precision is required. The process begins by first setting the metals to be connected inside a special device. It's sealed shut to create a vacuum, and the rest is left in the hands of a programmed machine.
That was quick.
So how does it look? The two pieces are perfectly connected.
The numerical control and the instantaneous work are beautiful.
This doesn't require the hands of craftsmen typical of such small factories. But it is still a job that demands deep knowledge of metals and vast experience. Conventional welding relies on heat generated by gas or electricity. But it is still ill-suited for some tasks. Making the impossible possible is electron beams. For example, these stainless steel pipes. With conventional welding, 3 pipes can't be connected simultaneously. But with electron beams, presto, they're welded together.
Unless they're welded rapidly, the circle won't remain circular. It'll become warped and egg-shaped. Maintaining the circularity while rapidly connecting 3 pieces into one is something that can only be done with electron beam welding. Instantaneously. It's amazing.
Veteran employee Tatsuya Sashida succeeded in a more difficult type of welding recently.
Try holding this. It's heavy. This is copper and stainless steel welded together using electron beams. This is on Hayabusa 2.
The small asteroid explorer Hayabusa 2 is carrying a device to create artificial craters. This is made to collide into asteroid surfaces to make it easier to extract rocks and sand to send back to Earth. Used for the collision is this round copper plate. Until the explosion, it is welded and fixed to stainless steel. When the explosive inside is ignited, the copper plate detaches and shoots out much like a bullet. To be propelled straight, the copper plate has to be welded completely, evenly to the stainless steel.
The work is at such a high level that only we would jump at the chance of doing it.
What's more, stainless steel is difficult to weld as its melting point varies from copper, so the beam is pointed at precise points on the order of 1/100th of a millimeter. The experiment is a success. Showtime is 3 years away.
It's difficult when you actually try it. We did this based on faith, believing in the techniques we built up. There were times when we worked without sleeping. Have you ever turned down a request you felt was too difficult? With difficult requests, we have this sense of curiosity about the result. And once we start, we want to complete the project. After all, the experience of struggling becomes an asset.
Under the guidance of the veteran engineers, the younger workers are also infused with the spirit of taking on new challenges.
We often get requests to work with materials that we have no experience with.
He says it without hesitation, a sure sign of confidence. Mr. Kamitani is led into a certain room at headquarters. It's filled with certificates of appreciation from customers.
So many certificates of appreciation here. It's like your quality assurance room. It's no good if we say that our own company is strong. It has to be recognized publicly. I believe that's a kind of status you achieve.
But most requests from major corporations are classified as top secret. The company's name is nowhere to be found on finished products. During our interviews, one manufacturer allowed us to mention its name. We visited Hitachi. A clearly strange-looking building stands in front. Inside is one of the world's biggest electron microscopes. This is the first time it's being shown on television. Its appearance alone is astounding, not to mention its capabilities. For example, a conventional electron microscope will show the face of an insect enlarged. But with this, it's possible to also see nanoscale atoms.
For electric planes, the aim is to fly planes on just electricity, so we need to develop more compact and larger capacity batteries. It's quite a difficult challenge. If we can use this microscope to develop new materials, I think commercializing electric planes will no longer be just a dream.
This massive electron microscope also has sections where complex welding is needed. A component made of a special alloy costing 10 million yen. Needing to weld it on, they couldn't afford to fail, but they did.
This part got burnt, and it ended in failure.
The high cost meant another failure would be unacceptable. While other welding companies shied away from the project, Tosei Electrobeam stepped up and accepted the challenge.
We're really grateful that they took on this despite dealing with such an expensive piece and having just one shot at it. They wanted to work with us to make this a success. And you can feel that when you see how good the end product is.
Tosei Electrobeam boasts welders with amazing skills who won't run from any challenge. They've earned the trust of even the biggest manufacturers.
Potenza.
Let's go look for Mitsubishi Electric around the world. Singapore. Found it. Jakarta. Yeah! Tokyo. Nishida. Kuala Lumpur. Mitsubishi Electric.
Let's paint a vision, your imagination. It started moving round the world. Dream car. Let's paint a vision, your imagination. It started moving round the world. From a sketch on a piece of paper, come together now. Dream car.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a report from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. So, Tsuda-san, what's the topic this time?
Yes, today we look at a business model that's helping relieve a worker shortage in the restaurant industry.
Well, I know many industries are struggling to find workers, but restaurants are having an especially hard time.
Yes, that seems to be the case. We have a graph over here. It shows Japan's working age population, which is made up of 15 to 64-year-olds, and the number began falling after peaking in 1995.
Well, so-called post-war baby boomers reaching the mandatory retirement age of 65, the decline is speeding up.
Yes, that's right. And in 2013, the working age population dropped below 80 million for the first time in 32 years.
Well, I know that the restaurant industry rely on young part-time workers, so with the falling birth rate reducing the number of eligible workers such as students, I think it will become even more difficult to run restaurant business.
It definitely is. And but amid this, some restaurant operators have adopted a new business model to deal with the worker shortage and are actually successfully growing customers and sales. So we take a look at the latest trend in the restaurant industry.
Shinjuku, Tokyo. It's after 8 in the evening, and people who've just gotten off work are lining up near Seibu Shinjuku Station. At the front of the queue is a standing-only eatery. It's called Yakiniku Jiromaru. In the display case is a selection of recommended meats. The customers grill their meat on the tabletop roasters. This standing-only restaurant can stand just 12 people. They say most customers during the day and even at night come in pairs or alone.
Standing-only places are easier to come alone.
It's my third time. I like that I can eat one piece at a time. You can have many pieces of all different kinds of meat.
The secret of this establishment's popularity is a system that allows customers to order by slice. A slice of limited quantity top blade from A5 grade Nagasaki beef is 300 yen. Skirt of domestic beef, a popular choice, is also 300 yen a slice. Offal starts at 30 yen for 2 pieces.
Try tip, chuck flap and top blade.
The meat is cut fresh with every order. The ability to order domestic beef by slice and the relatively low price have drawn throngs of people since its opening.
It was absolutely delicious.
Each plate, each slice isn't expensive, but I ended up eating a lot. It was so good.
The eatery is run by Echigoya, which owns a chain of soba and fish restaurants.
Grilled beef restaurants used to be places where 4 people would go together, so we wanted to accommodate singles and pairs.
Customers spend about 3,100 yen at Jiromaru, but because it's a standing-only eatery, tables are turned 12 to 13 times a day on average. What's more, the counter format means few staff members are needed for operations, helping to keep down costs and making it possible to set up in high-rent prime locations.
Standing-only places are overlooked, but our food is delicious and there's a kind of disconnect. After all, our meat is top quality.
Jiromaru opened another branch at the end of May inside a train station building in Ota Ward, Tokyo. The operator plans to expand the number of branches to 10 within this year.
First, the Kanto region, where we have relationships with suppliers and distributors. We'll build a base here and set up more branches in Kansai and Kyushu.
This is the Haku Hinkan building in Ginza. In November of last year, a sukiyaki and shabu-shabu restaurant called Shoen Nikuichi was opened here. It has become known for serving Kobe beef at low prices. Customers are first charged 1,500 yen for the table and pot. With the addition of 100 grams of Kobe beef brisket for sukiyaki, costing 500 yen, the total comes to 2,000 yen. There are other choices such as 100 grams of Kobe beef sirloin for 1,980 yen, and chuck eye roll for 1,400 yen. The prices here are much lower than at other similar restaurants. What do customers think?
It's tasty. And at this price.
But how are they able to offer Kobe beef in Ginza at such reasonable prices? The restaurant is operated by meat wholesaler Kobe Beef Shokuhin. They purchase 1 Kobe beef cattle every week and supply the meat to the restaurant at an almost break-even price.
Kobe beef is the most famous beef brand in the world. Prices are high, so we want to offer something reasonable.
Another secret to the low prices is personnel costs. There are 102 seats, but only 7 staff members. Once the meat for sukiyaki and shabu-shabu is sliced, the customers cook it by themselves at their tables. In other words, it is a restaurant format suited for an age when there's a worker shortage. They also provide drinks such as wine that are less expensive by the bottle than by the glass. There's a reason for that too.
If it's by the glass, we have to keep carrying glasses to tables. But this way, we go once and don't need to serve tables for a while.
A restaurant run by few people serving low-priced Kobe beef. A second branch is scheduled to open within this year.
Restaurants aren't as popular a place to work at as compared to other industries. We adopted this kind of system so that we can build up a style of service that doesn't require as many people and is enjoyable for our customers.
And now, an entirely new format is attracting attention. An all-you-can-eat restaurant where prices change by the minute. Opened inside a train station building in Yokohama this spring is Kyowa Shabu Shabu. They offer pork shabu-shabu and a buffet spread of about 40 dishes. All you can eat 60 minutes for 1,500 yen. Beyond that, a charge of 25 yen per minute is tacked on. So why has a by-the-minute pricing system caught on with customers?
Today, I have to go pick up my child from kindergarten, so I don't have too much time to eat. They charge by time, and I think it's interesting.
Previously, they offered a 90-minute or 2-hour all-you-can-eat buffet. But after adopting a by-the-minute pricing system, they say the number of customers has increased 70%.
Before, it was mostly families, but there's been a sharp increase in people eating alone, business people, and students.
The operator is Diamond Dining, which runs 81 different style establishments.
There are various formats, such as a place to get a quick drink, or that offer high-quality food for reasonable prices. Raising customer satisfaction based on time is a new format we're proposing.
The restaurant industry produces successes and failures. What is the newest trend of crowd-drawing spots?
Recently, because of a so-called meat boom, there's been a sharp rise in the number of restaurants specializing in or serving meat. The next trend is whether they can offer something different. Naturally, meat is delicious, but we're now in an age when you have to offer additional value beyond that.
With the improving economy, consumer trends are undergoing a shift. Business models to overcome the worker shortage may be the secret to crowd-drawing restaurants.
Dear Lisa, I took a boat ride from Grand Prince Hotel Hiroshima, and I arrived at an island of the gods. The autumn foliage was divine, simply wonderful. Riding on the Red Arrow, there was another wonderful place near Tokyo. This primeval scenery can only be described as wonderful. Let's come here together someday. Smiles ahead. Seibu Group.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tokyo Skytree. Be awestruck by the panoramic view. There are so many other fun things to do after you've enjoyed the view. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go, let's enjoy. This is Tokyo Skytree.
So what's next?
Yes, next we'll be looking at industrial robots. And of course, as you might have guessed, Japan has the biggest global market share in industrial robots.
I see. Well, understand that something remarkable advancements are being made in the industry now.
Yes, that's right. There's intense competition among manufacturers and next-generation robots, home-use robots, and also humanoid robots.
Well, what kind of industrial robots do Japanese companies make?
Well, there are actually various types of industrial robots, and they have a wide range of uses, such as manufacturing in a factory, or construction sites, or chip makers, and so on.
I see. Well, understand the shipment value is also growing every year.
It is, and the total value of domestic and overseas shipments exceeded $500 billion in 2013, with exports continuing to grow as well.
I see. Well, but now there's a big rival that could overtake Japan, right?
That's right, and it's China. And demand for industrial robots in China has sharply expanded, and the country's global market share is growing at a pace to overtake Japan. So Japanese companies are facing an unprecedented challenge. And amid that, our cameras were given the rare opportunity to go inside an industrial robot factory that's usually off limits to cameras. So take a look.
Early July, a medical industry exhibition held at Tokyo Big Sight. About 1,000 companies showcased production equipment designed for pharmaceutical makers. Generating particular buzz was the robot section. This is a robot to stir medicine inside a container. There were demonstrations by a robot that stirs medicine in test tubes using its 2 arms. And even a robot able to open a refrigerator and place medicine inside on its own. Among them was one that drew an especially large crowd. A yellow-colored robot that scoops up bags that pass by and swiftly arranges them in boxes. The jackets of staff members giving explanations are also yellow. This is the booth of industrial robot maker FANUC. Several negotiations are underway.
Picking things up at that speed is amazing.
The yellow robot caught the attention of many visitors. What kind of company is FANUC? Our reporter visited company headquarters in Yamanashi Prefecture.
Even the road here is named FANUC Road. Once we turn into this road, we'll be heading straight for FANUC. I see yellow-colored buildings. This must be the factory. It's hard to miss.
The site at the foot of Mount Fuji is 1.6 square kilometers, enough to fit over 220 soccer fields. Standing here are more than 20 yellow factory buildings. And
there are a whole bunch of yellow cars parked. Wow. I heard about this, but when you're here, you really understand how important the color yellow is for the company. The vinyl umbrellas are yellow too. Never seen this kind before. Welcome!
Meeting us is Senior Executive Director Kiyonori Inaba, who oversees the company's robot business.
You also wear a yellow jacket. Yes. This yellow is our uniform color and our fighting color.
Mr. Inaba's grandfather is Sei Uemon, the honorary chairman who built up the company in 1 generation. FANUC now has operations in 46 countries around the world. In the business year ended this March, the company posted record sales and profit. It boasts the biggest global market share in the industry. It is also known for being extremely protective about information, a company shrouded in mystery.
I understand not many television crews have been inside. It's very rare.
We were given special permission to film inside. Some of the company's latest robots are on display. These yellow robots are used not just for car production, but in a range of industries, from food to medicine.
Why is FANUC so insistent about yellow? It's to warn people that there are robots and to make them stand out.
The purpose of painting them in an easily noticeable yellow color is to minimize the risk of people coming too close and injuring themselves. So why are these yellow robots used in numerous production facilities around the world? The QP Nakagawara plant churns out 12,000 tubes of mayonnaise every day. On this production line, FANUC robots arrange 50 empty tubes per minute.
There's a big advantage in terms of hygiene by ensuring that there's minimal human contact before filling them.
FANUC robots were adopted by the factory 3 years ago, and they say none has been stopped because of a problem so far.
There are few mistakes and operations are smooth. They're critical in protecting product quality.
That is FANUC's biggest strength.
They don't break down. They'll notify you before they break, and even if they break, they can be fixed right away. We promote the trustworthiness of our products. We'll switch out the robots without stopping production at the factory, and as a result, prevent mechanical failures.
The company will replace components for customers before the robots break down. The parts are taken back and retooled so they can be used for robots of other customers. This circulation is key to their system of ensuring that customers' factories never stop running. But FANUC is now feeling the heat from Swiss robot maker ABB. That's especially true in the Chinese market, where ABB is strengthening local production. FANUC, which is more focused on manufacturing within Japan, has lagged behind. To address this issue, the company created
the color of the robots here. They're green. They are. They're not our company color. Why?
These green robots that they began selling from April. The biggest characteristic is where they are installed.
They don't require fencing. Robots are extremely dangerous, so they used to be fenced to keep people out.
Incorporating safety measures developed in-house, they were able to do away with fencing.
They'll stop right away when there's contact. With sensors? Interesting. It stopped. Where are the sensors? I'd like to tell you, but it's a company secret.
This green robot. A closer look shows it's actually yellow inside.
This is actually a suit. Inside is a yellow robot.
The key to the sensors is the green cover. They say it's packed with the company's own sensor technologies. Until now, robots that stopped with contact could only carry light loads. But this green robot can lift up to 35 kilograms and is the first of its kind in the world. Their aim is to expand into fields where robots haven't been able to enter so far.
In the first year, our aim is to explore and figure out where they can be used. We believe that in the future, it wouldn't be surprising to us if the ratio of yellow and green robots reached 1:1.
Well, Japan's still a global leader in the industrial robots, but what's next for the industry?
Yes, well, last year the Japanese government launched the Robot Revolution Initiative as part of its growth strategy with the aim of transforming various industries through the adoption of robotics.
Well, I know there have been growing interest in non-industrial robots such as nursing care and entertainment robots. Well, it will be interesting to see how this technology will develop in the future. Well, after the break, we have an episode from Takumi.
We do our jobs with sincerity and integrity. to make a better living environment. For the people and our society. Today's work, tomorrow's heritage. Shimizu Corporation.
Machines can do much more to unleash human potential. Pure possibility. Omron.
Mitsui and Company.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next we bring a segment called Takumi from Science View, a program produced by NHK.
Takumi literally means artisan in Japanese, and it's a word often used to describe craftsmen with exceptional skills.
So who's our Takumi today?
Yes, today we meet a Takumi who developed a revolutionary fire extinguishing device. Now, Demi-san, I'm sure you remember the great Hanshin earthquake back in 1995, and they say about 7,000 buildings were destroyed by fire.
Well, why so many?
Well, one reason for widespread fire damage is said to be the stoppage of utilities such as electricity and water lines because of the earthquake, and it made it difficult to operate firefighting equipment. So, learning from that experience, our Takumi today developed a device that requires no running water nor electricity. So, take a look.
Are you thirsty? Hi, I'm Michelle. This is a pump that draws up water from a well. A pump is a device that's operated by human power or by electricity. It either sucks up or pushes out fluids. That's the reason we have access to water in sky-high buildings. Today I'll introduce you to a Takumi who came up with an innovative mechanism. Let's go meet him. Hello, I'm Michelle.
Hello, thank you for coming.
Today's Takumi is Tetsuji Kitayama, the president of a pump manufacturing company. He showed me to an empty shed. I was then handed an umbrella. What's going to happen next? Then... Whoa, that took me by surprise! This is quite something! The force of the water is incredibly strong. It's a real downpour. The Takumi invented a new system, which is what's sending water to the sprinkler. This is the main unit. It's a gigantic metal tank that is hard to miss. It can store 13,000 liters of water. Behind the tank is a line of compressed gas cylinders. What can they be for?
This is nitrogen gas. It's this gas that pushes out the stored water.
The Takumi had come up with an original fire extinguishing system. When large disasters strike, it sometimes leads to a power outage. But the fire extinguishing system that the Takumi made doesn't require any electricity. Because the tanks are independent units, even if water pipes erupt, the system won't be affected, and there's no fear of a water shortage. But why nitrogen gas?
Nitrogen is a highly safe gas, and there's no risk of it oxidizing and exploding.
And that's not the only merit of using nitrogen gas. Can you see how the water from the tank is clouded? These are small bubbles of nitrogen gas. Nitrogen gas is used in canned food and keeps the food from oxidizing. Because the water with nitrogen gas doesn't go bad easily, it can be used as emergency water for shower, laundry, and toilet usage. A hose can also be attached to the Takumi's fire extinguishing system. I was given the chance to use the hose. Whoa! It goes really far. It shoots out 640 liters of water per minute. The reason that I can handle a hose shooting out that much water on my own is because the water pressure is constant and steady. In Japan, the fire defense law requires that all fire extinguishing systems meet a certain standard. They must be able to release water at a set pressure during the 20 minutes it normally takes for the fire department to arrive. But to meet this requirement using gas pressure was an extremely difficult task. The pressure of the nitrogen gas in the cylinders is 14.7 megapascals. But because it's dangerous if left at that level, a pressure regulator is needed to decrease the pressure to 0.65 megapascals. However, when the device is operated and the gas in the cylinder starts to decrease, the water pressure changes. It took 5 years to develop a pressure regulator that doesn't require electricity and that keeps the water pressure stable for 20 minutes. This is the completed product. What is its mechanism?
It's made so that just enough nitrogen gas passes through this valve to make up for the water that's released.
No electricity? How does it work?
That's a trade secret. I'm afraid I can't tell you that.
I understand. We can't give you the details, but the pressure is said to be controlled using only springs and valves. The event that motivated the Takumi to begin working on a fire extinguishing system that didn't use electricity was the Great Hanshin Awaji earthquake in 1995. Power outages had disabled the pumps of the fire extinguishing systems, and the sight of the fire spreading throughout the city deeply affected the Takumi. It was during that time that an engineer friend suggested his idea of using gas. The Takumi immediately started development, and the device was completed 5 years later. But the revolutionary device did not sell well because the company had no proven track record in the field of fire prevention equipment. The turning point came when the Great East Japan earthquake occurred in 2011. One of the Takumi's fire extinguishing systems, which was placed at a nursing home in Ibaraki Prefecture, worked perfectly right after the earthquake and received media attention. The Takumi's fire extinguishing system had gone unnoticed for 11 years following its completion. We asked the Takumi why he didn't give up.
The more difficult a task is, the greater the sense of achievement when you accomplish it. There's nothing like it. The moment we deliver our product and bring joy to customers is the moment our development gains value. I always held to the belief that there was a goal.
And that brings to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so make sure to tune in next week.